24 strikes, 9 terror camps, 100 killed. India rained hell for 25 minutes on Pakistan. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it took just 25 minutes for India to unleash 24 missiles that struck 9 terror camps and killed 100 terrorists in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir at the crack of dawn today. The strikes, which lasted from 1:05 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. today, were carried out jointly by the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy under the code name Operation Sindoor. Daring, direct, decisive. Pakistan left red-faced as India demonstrated its intent. The message was loud and clear. Let us listen in to what a Pakistani had to say in the aftermath of India's strike inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
पाकिस्तानी और इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी है। अभी मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं। 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं, लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब ये हमला हुआ। मुजफ्फराबाद की भी खबर आ रही है कि मुजफ्फराबाद वाली साइड पर भी ये अटैक हुआ है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर अटैक हुआ है ब्लास्टिक मिसाइल के साथ। उन्होंने हमला किया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं। अभी ये कहना कबल वक्त है कि गोया कितनी सच्चाई है इस खबर के अंदर, किस साइड से ये मिसाइल आए हैं, ये अभी कंफर्म होना बाकी है, लेकिन ये कंफर्म न्यूज़ है कि उनके मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं।
Absolutely. The strike took place in 9 precision strikes in 9 terror hubs, whether it is in POK or Pakistan itself, and some as interior as 100 kilometers from the line of control, that is in Bahawalpur and so on. We'll talk about that as we proceed. I'm joined by a very esteemed panelist this evening, Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former Director General Infantry, Lieutenant General Rana Pratap Kalita, former Army Commander, Eastern Command, Lieutenant General Himalaya Singh, Group Captain Mohonto Panging, and Nitin Gokhale, a well-known defense analyst. Gentlemen, welcome to this live broadcast. Let me ask you directly, Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, joining me from Noida this evening. General Kulkarni, you've heard that Pakistani national saying, missile se hamla kar diya, and he was asking this question, hamara force kya so rahe the? So it's clear that Pakistanis, despite claiming that they were on high alert, were taken completely by surprise and they were absolutely rattled.
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you and with my friends.
Thank you.
As regards the surprise is concerned, definitely Pakistan was caught with its pants down. Even, believe you me, I've been going around, I do meet people. Even I didn't know till a phone call came to me at about 2 in the morning. कि साहब हिंदुस्तान ने तो स्ट्राइक कर दिया है. And so I was also shocked at that point of time. कैसे हो गया? He says अब हो गया है और यही है. So since then they are on television doing all these various debates on it. But definitely Pakistan did not expect such a strike. As you rightly said, 25 minutes, 24 missiles and 9 targets, and all of it were precision. All of the, if you listen to the Pakistani report also, in fact, the tweet of the Prime Minister of Pakistan is the indicative that yes, they were struck. The tweet from the DG ISPR, yes, they were struck. And all of them have accepted that India has struck them, and this is what they would. Of course, they've said they would retaliate. That's a separate story. But they were caught with their pants down. They didn't know. And this kind of a coordination, precision was super and probably well-kept secret and excellent execution, leading to, hopefully, Pakistan understanding that if they continue using terrorism as an instrument of state policy, they're probably not going to last too long. And if Pakistan retaliates to Operation Sindoor, because this Operation Sindoor is only to what they did at Pahalgam, in which they killed 26 people. So this was a retaliation. Now, should Pakistan retaliate, that would be then a different retaliation under a different ops probably, because then it is not, because we struck the terror camps, whereas Pakistan will be striking India. So there's a subtle difference in what we did. because we did not cross the LOC, we did not destroy any civilian installation,
Absolutely.
and we ensured that no military installation was also hit. So there's a difference in now what Pakistan would be doing. If Pakistan strikes, it would be striking India, and thereafter now India will retaliate to Pakistan strike. So far, it is this Operation Sindoor was only as a retaliation to what they did at Pahalgam.
Right. I'll come back to you, General Saab. Let me go to General R.P. Kalita. General Saab, now Defense Minister, only a few minutes back, Defense Minister was addressing an event of the Border Roads Organization where he once again made it very clear that India has not struck at any civilian targets. There has been no civilian casualties. That is what India has once again maintained, that the intent was to destroy the terror camps and no civilian targets were hit as a matter of policy. Now, Pakistan, on the other hand, intensified its mortar shelling along the LOC, and we have reports at least 9 civilians in Jammu and Kashmir were killed and 41 others were injured. Now, the Pakistanis getting desperate and striking in random even on civilian populations.
You see, right after the Pahalgam attack on 22nd April, we have seen the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir being lit up by the Pakistani side by frequent ceasefire violations. But that was limited to small arms and smaller caliber weapons. And that is basically, they were anticipating some kind of retribution or reaction from us. So as a deterrent measure, they had basically lit up the entire line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. But at that point of time, they did not imagine that India would go in for a strong measure of selecting and attacking the major terrorist camps. And in this strike, like I had mentioned earlier as well, the change is that the heart of Pakistan, that Pakistan Punjab, was targeted, and primarily focusing on the Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters at Murid-Ke and the Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters at Bahawalpur. So these two primary nerve centers of the Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, that being targeted has probably demoralized the complete terrorist lot, as also their handlers, including the ISI and the Pakistan Army.
Right.
So, as a response, immediate response, what they have done, they have upgraded the caliber in Jammu and Kashmir, and they have started opening up with heavier caliber weapons, targeting the civilian population which live close by in the line of control.
Right.
And we have seen about 9 to 10 people have been killed, including children, and a lot of infrastructure damaged. So that's their modus operandi. Earlier also, they are not bothered about the Kashmiri population. The attack itself, the Pahalgam attack itself, was a kick in the stomach of the Kashmiri population by hitting the tourism, which was picking up and contributing towards the Kashmiri economy.
Right.
So Pakistan, in any case, is not bothered about the welfare of the Kashmiris, which all of us know and all of us have to admit. And I think the major part of the sympathizers who are still there with the Pakistani terrorists, they need to realize this particular fact, that it is only themselves that they bother. They're not worried about the common Kashmiris, their plight, their properties and all. So definitely this is a thing. And as far as their escalation is concerned, what sort of retribution or what sort of retaliatory measures they take, that is something we'll have to see.
We'll have to wait and watch. Absolutely. I'll go to Lieutenant General Himalaya Singh. I don't know whether Nitin Gokhale has joined me yet. Not yet. Okay. Lieutenant General Himalaya Singh, when Pakistan said that they were for the last few days said that we are on a state of high alert and so on and so forth, and today India managed to take them by surprise because they were thinking that India will be engaged today in a mock civil defense drill. It was a very good camouflage. It was a very good screen put up by India as a matter of strategy, and it completely foxed the Pakistanis. And they were not at all prepared, because Pakistanis are now saying that, okay, they rain bullets. What are, hamara fauzi kya kar rahe the? Hamara fauzi kya so rahe the? These are what the angry Pakistanis are now saying.
Yes. I think the entire Pakistani establishment actually did not anticipate this kind of a surgical strike deep inside their territory, taking out so many terrorist training facilities. So I think they made a wrong calculation about the resolve of the people of India to strike. So that was the first thing. And the second issue is, as far as their high alert is concerned, we have seen how their alertness levels are at various levels, and whether they have the capability to actually detect such kind of missiles, which were fired, I mean, as per the newspaper report, fired from land, air, and the sea. Uh, that capability, I'm not very sure whether they have, capability to detect, BrahMos cruise missiles and things like that.
Yes.
So I think it shows the level of their preparedness, and I'm very certain that they don't have this kind of a capability, and I think they will again be caught unawares. That is why General Kulkarni was saying that they better not escalate to a level where the might of the Indian armed forces might have to be borne over them. So that is what my feeling is. Yeah.
Right. General Kulkarni, first it was the diplomatic strikes by India immediately after Pahalgam. First it was a diplomatic strike, reducing the number of diplomats, asking the Pakistanis to leave, stoppage of visa, striking off the Indus Water Treaty, and now they were hit because there is very little water flowing in the Jhelum and the Chenab and so on and so forth. Now, that military strike, which they thought that can happen only after the mock drills and so on and so forth. Now, apart from that, now India has taken the global community into confidence. We have seen throughout the day today, post Operation Sindoor, our National Security Advisor Ajit Doval spoke with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. Doval also spoke with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, UK National Security Advisor Jonathan Powell, NSAs of Saudi Arabia and UAE and Japan. Now, and the global community has not come down against India's actions. Even the Chinese this morning they only said that we regret that this has happened. They have not condemned it. How do you look at it?
A good, I would say, something very much in favor of India and very much against terrorism in the entire world. So people are indeed fed up of terrorism, and that there's a unified desire that this menace must be clear and we must eliminate it at all costs, because it is something which the entire world is affected very badly. So to say we are victims, they are perpetrators, the perpetrator will say, I'm a victim, I'm not a perpetrator, and things of those kinds. And it is so much better that the world stands united against terrorism. India also has not struck Pakistan. India has struck the terror, a source of terror, which unfortunately emanates from Pakistan. And therefore, that little bit of a nuance was there, that the Prime Minister never ever addressed or stated or used the word Pakistan in any of his speeches. He used terror, and wherever the terror may be, if it is in India, it will be stuck in India. If it's in Pakistan, anywhere. So everybody was clear that terror modules, wherever they are, they have to be hit and destroyed. In that context, I think India does have a tremendous amount of sympathy. Everybody stands with India, and even in the UN Security Council, though a closed-door meeting, not inside the council room, but in an adjoining room that was held, and everybody
absolutely
gave a mouthful to Pakistan for what they had done at Pahalgam. So Pakistan is on the back foot, and I sincerely hope that they see this as an end to whatever has happened and not take it as something to which they need to retaliate for their own national honor being compromised. If that be so, then there'll never be an end, and this will further get escalated. Yeah.
Absolutely, General. Very well said there. I'm also joined by well-known defense expert Nitin Gokhale joining me from New Delhi. Nitin, welcome to this live broadcast. We have General Kulkarni, General Kalita, General Himalaya Singh and Group Captain Mohonto on the show. You came slightly late. That's why I'm telling you who are on the program. Nitin, you know, daring, direct and decisive action by India at the crack of dawn today, because our armed forces responded to the call of the nation. The call of the nation was to avenge the dastardly killing of 26 innocent civilians in Pahalgam, and our forces responded. Now, the Prime Minister chaired a Cabinet Committee on Security a day after the Pahalgam attack and said our forces are free to take their own decision. They will do their at the time and choosing of their own. Now, the forces have done it, and the Prime Minister has monitored it around the clock last night, the operation minute to minute. Now, how do you look at it? What do you think Pakistan is going to do? What kind of action Pakistan may take? And overall, you know, your first comments.
Well, Wasbir, thank you very much. It's good to be on a TV channel that is out of a city which I cut my teeth in journalism on in Guwahati. Just to give you the first reactions, Pakistan had actually crossed a red line in India's mind by killing innocent civilians and also targeting particular Hindu community deliberately. So India had to hit the epicenter of the terrorism emanating from Pakistan, which is Bhavalpur and Muridke, the Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters, which was unthinkable some years ago. In fact, let me recall that in 2008, after the Mumbai attack, in November 2008, then Air Chief Marshal Fali Major had given this option to the then government of Dr. Manmohan Singh, and it was rejected because it was considered escalatory. But in this case, India showed that India can strike deep into Pakistan-Punjab heartland, and at the epicenter of terrorist organizations like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, and kill people there. And this is significant that Masood Azhar, the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief, has actually come up with a statement that he lost 10 relatives and he mourned their death and saying that I should have also died along instead of my relatives, which is something happening for the first time.
Yes.
So India has done its strike. India has also said it was non-escalatory, it was non-military targets, non-economic, non-civilian targets. And there is inbuilt, implicit statement in India's press release that we have done with what we wanted. But now if Pakistan escalates, then we reserve the right to retaliate resolutely. As National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has told number of his counterparts ranging from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Japan, China, Russia, and the US, that he has been in touch with them, he's briefed them what India has done.
Absolutely.
And has told them that we don't want escalation, but if Pakistan escalates, we will resolutely retaliate. I think that's where the line has been drawn, that if Pakistan does anything stupid going further, India will retaliate.
Absolutely, absolutely. Group Captain Panging, you know, Nitin Gokhale has talked about Masood Azhar saying that he should have died rather than his relatives, and 10 of his relatives, at least 10 of his relatives have been killed in that strike at his madrasa in Muridke. Now, the point is, and Nitin also said that, you know, India is not doing anything to escalate the situation because the Indian government has made it very clear in this morning's press briefing by the Foreign Secretary that India exercised its right to defend itself, and he said that there were reports of the Pakistani terrorists making further plans to attack more strikes in India, and India exercised its right to preempt and defend itself. Now, in view of this, the point is, the National Security Advisor has told his counterparts that India is not interested in escalating. Now, the Pakistanis are targeting civilian populations in J&K and along the LOC.
Lucky that he is alive in today's strike, and he is the reason for the death of his relatives and not the other way around. And he is very lucky and he should count his days. Those are numbered. We will come after him also with the present national leadership. And what I want to bring out today is, as pointed out by the previous speaker, is that I was myself commanding a squadron in 2008. And we had similar plans to do it after the Mumbai terror attacks by Azmal Kasab and party. I was deployed for 1 month in Punjab. We were issued everything. The weapon platform was ready. We, as a fighter pilot, were ready. As a patriotic Indian, all of us are ready. Platforms are available. Everything was there except the leadership. There's a vacuum in the leadership, a strong, decisive leadership which could take a stand to go ahead. We could have done this in 2008. The very thing that was done in 2019, that could have been done in 2008, and how many more lives could have been saved, innocent Indian lives, if we had done it in 2008. But the present leadership is strong and decisive, and they have decided to give it back. And today, actually, I salute the leadership that they have taken avenge the dastardly killings of Pahalgam.
Absolutely. General Himalaya Singh, you see, we know, as Mohonto Panging is saying, in 2008 itself, the security establishment wanted the government to give them the go-ahead, but the then government, the UPA government, failed. They did not give the go-ahead, they shied away. But now, under Narendra Modi, it's a different story. 2019, we saw Balakot, the surgical strike. In fact, by the way, after Balakot, this is the first time that all the three forces have worked in unison, worked in coordination to come up with today's strike. Now, leadership plays a very big role, isn't it? The decisiveness of the leadership is very important for the armed forces to actually act.
In fact, when we speak about comprehensive national power, whether a country is powerful or not, one of the factors to be considered is the leadership. One of the factors to consider, while evaluating the comprehensive national power is the leadership. So totally, I agree with all the speakers to say that leadership matters in a situation like this. And decision making is a very, very important aspect of any national security. Having said that, I must also say that it is our job, the military's job, to give the leadership options, workable options, with full confidence, and then present it before them to convince them that this is workable, this is
right,
without harming their political environment. So these are also factors that we need to keep in mind when we recommend such kind of actions to the political leadership.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to bring your attention, General Kalita. I'll come to you, Nitin Gokhale and General Kulkarni. General Kalita, the range of high-precision, long-range strike weapons used by India in this Operation Sindoor, among them were the Scalp cruise missiles, the Hammer precision bomb, and loitering munitions like Kamikaze or the suicide drones. Do you think, all these things are operated from within Indian territory? Now, do you think Pakistanis are prepared for this, and do you think we have more up our sleeve? We have more weapons up our sleeve which we have not yet unleashed?
This particular precision strike is all these new generation weapons and technology were used from a standoff distance. So there are two basic things which facilitated this attack, like we have all been talking. One is the capability to fire off at a standoff distance, that is remaining within our own territory. We can fire, which can cause the desired damage at the target end. As also the second basic quality is the precision strike, the accuracy with which these weapons can hit the desired target and create the maximum effect or maximum damage. So the new generation weapons and equipments have definitely brought in a lot of confidence among the armed forces. As also, it is not only the new generation weapons and equipments, but also the ability to use those particular weapons and equipments, the ability and the high level of training and motivation to exploit the capabilities of these new generations weapons and equipment, which is also equally important because any bomb or weapon is as good as the user or the capability of the user. If the user is not able to exploit the capabilities, then it is of no use giving such niche technology weapons and ammunition. So I think Indian armed forces collectively have shown this capability to adopt the new technology, which we have been talking of, because Indian Army has to modernize, transform, and keep pace with the technological development that is taking place all around us.
Right.
Whether in the domain of weapons or equipment, or in the domain of perception management, information warfare, cyber warfare, or space warfare. New domains are getting added to the nature of warfare. What we are experiencing now, or what we are likely to experience in the future.
Right. Going to General Kulkarni, General Sahab, India has done everything right after this whole thing was unleashed by the Pakistani terrorists. Now, starting from, as I said, diplomatic initiatives to stopping water flow to taking the world by its side. Now, the naming of this operation, Operation Sindoor, there are now multiple media reports saying that this name, code name Operation Sindoor was suggested by none other than Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it is very, very symbolic because the terrorists have widowed 24 of our women in Pahalgam who were just tourists going to enjoy the beauty of Kashmir. Now, everything is symbolic. Do you think this has also gone and given a message to the countrymen that the nation cares? Apart from giving a terrible blow to Pakistan, this also assuages the heart emotions of the countrymen who are absolutely angry that people called out, people chose the people by religion and shot them in front of their wives and children.
You're absolutely right. See, though there were political steps taken, diplomatic steps taken, all of them were non-kinetic. And in a manner that they were the emotions of the population. And, when I personally would say that today, at this point of time, because we have a very strong leadership, we have a very professional armed forces, and the nation is united, which has resulted in success. And all that is not easy to be able to get at any point of time. So it is very crucial that not just symbolic, but also to be able to, what I would say is down the emotions of the people, because after all, there was so much of anger. And with this, if you saw the what that boy's father, Sanjay Dwivedi, said, that we feel that, yes, there's a lot that has been happening, and he thanked the Prime Minister, he thanked the armed forces for having taken revenge for the loss of his son. So that's something which is very important, because we may have done the Indus Water Treaty, we may have ensured water stoppage, so many things. But to a common man, it doesn't seem to feel, because there's so many people within us also who will say, well, it will take for 30 years to make dam. How can we stop water? How can we stop this? How can we do that? So you feel as if all the steps are superficial, and a common man doesn't seem that he has got that. Therefore, you're absolutely right that this particular strike was a kinetic strike which raised the morale of the nation in one stroke in just 25 minutes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coming to you, Nitin Gokhale. Nitin, we have seen the leadership. Contrast the leadership in India and the leadership in Pakistan. Now, their main opposition leader is in jail. Imran Khan is in jail even at this situation. Now, India, despite the differences between the main opposition party, if we can say that Congress is the main opposition party, despite the huge differences between the Congress and the NDA, we have seen the nation is united, the political class is united as far as the strike on Pakistan is concerned, as far as they are behind the government. So contrast this with the situation in Pakistan. Do you think that this also affects military capabilities? It also affects the strike potential?
Well, certainly doesn't affect strike potential of the Pakistan military because it is a power unto itself in Pakistan, as you know very well. But what it does certainly is that shows that how Pakistan is a country that does not have its army, but an army has a country, as the old saying goes. And in fact, Pakistan army is under tremendous pressure to regain its lost status, and I would say even lowered, the kind of standing it has in the society. It is getting battered in Baluchistan. It is getting a hammering in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and it is also facing setbacks on its western border with Afghanistan. And therefore, General Asim Munir, the present Pakistan Army chief, the current Pakistan Army chief, wanted to draw India into a wider conflict. It wanted India to immediately strike back, like in Balakot or in Uri, although the time frame is more or less the same, about 12 days to 15 days time frame when India struck back at Pakistan. But India has also been very careful in calibrating its response because it does not want to get drawn into a wider or a escalating war, because India has much to lose as a stronger economy, as a rising nation. But if a war is imposed by Pakistan in the next 24 to 48 hours, India is prepared. As everyone has said, even the lady officer, Colonel Sofia Qureshi, said that if Pakistan escalates, India is prepared to retaliate resolutely. So has the National Security Advisor to his counterparts, the NSAs. So I'm saying that what your question was about whether that division affects Pakistan decision making. No, it does not, in the sense of the decision making in the military doesn't get affected by what happens politically in Pakistan. Whereas in India, the unity displayed by all political parties and all sections of the society actually bolsters the morale of the armed forces and also of the government. And I think this should go a long way. I was looking at 60 years ago what happened in 1965, something similar. Everyone contributed, everyone backed the government and government's decision and the military, and India came out on top in that war with Pakistan in 1965. Even in this, I have no doubt that the Indian military and the Indian government's resoluteness will prevail no matter what Pakistan tries.
Absolutely. General Kalita, now, what are the options? What is it that India should be prepared for now? We have seen that Pakistan has increased its caliber of firing along the LOC. India, they are firing at civilian populations. Around 7 to 8 or even 10 civilians in Jammu and Kashmir have died. About 40 others are wounded. Last reports came in. Now, what should India be prepared for now? What can we expect the Pakistanis to be doing now?
You see, like Nitin Gokhale had just mentioned, that Pakistan Army's credibility within the country is at its lowest. So the Pahalgam attack is a manifestation of trying to regain that lost space which the Pakistan Army used to enjoy in the Pakistan as a nation. So their credibility being at the lowest, and this attack having taken place, definitely they would be under tremendous pressure to retaliate. Now, there would also be tremendous pressure because the international community is generally with India, and there will be tremendous pressure on Pakistan from the international community as well, not to escalate, because nobody wants another war. We are seeing Russia-Ukraine war is going on. The Gaza thing is going on, and nobody wants one more war between India and Pakistan. So there will be immense international pressure on Pakistan not to escalate. But there are two options, I think, to my mind. One is what they have already done or what they have already claimed. What they've actually done on ground is intensifying the firing on LOC, across the LOC in Jammu and Kashmir. And second, what they have claimed immediately after the precision strike is they have claimed that they have downed about 5 to 6 Indian aircrafts. And they have also claimed that they have attacked the Srinagar airport as well as a brigade headquarters in Jammu and Kashmir. Whether these are considered to be as appropriate retaliatory measure by Pakistan and bowing to the international pressure and then they keeping quiet, that is one option. The other option for them is to target either some military installation, which is likely to escalate, because that option is definitely fraught with danger as far as the Pakistan army is concerned.
Right.
So I think the option for them is to escalate the firing in lines of communication, claim some of the things which they are saying that they have done, and then I think that they should hope that it should assuage the feelings of their common people.
Now, there has been fact check of some of these claims made by the Pakistanis, and it has already been turned out to be fake that they have been engaging in since this morning. That is for the record. Group Captain Panging, you wanted to say something. Yes, please carry on.
So you see, not only naming the operation as Sindoor, but also putting up two fine lady officers to carry out the press briefing, and among them a fine wing commander and a fine colonel who happens to be a Muslim. So this symbol goes out that today we are a secular, truly secular and democratic country. So this is symbolism that we are talking about. Now, one more thing I wanted to say about is that speech by the Pakistani army chief, who spoke like a jihadi. And I said earlier also that it appears that it is his speech which instigated the Pahalgam attack took place. He attacked India as a country and Hindus as such in a public speech as the chief of the army of the Pakistan army. And also the third point is about precision weapons, which you were asking. I myself operated many of them on from Sukhoi 30. We have a wide variety of precision weapons which are standoffs, and many of them are guided in different means, through GPS, through laser, through inertial navigation system, through TV, today through infrared, through laser. So many of them are available, and we Indian Air Force pilots are very highly trained for executing such kinds of missions. And we have so much of standoff weapons. For example, our own BrahMos. That Bhawanpur was the target which was located deepest inside in the present case scenario, around 95 to 100 kilometers.
Right.
So this could have been engaged very easily from inside our border. And finally, I want to make a statement that today the entire dastardly Pahalgam attacks has instigated all these actions. Similar Pulwama attack instigated the Balakot strike. Today, India is the fifth largest economy in the world, and we are soon become the third largest economy. We are the fourth largest armed forces in the world. We are the biggest democracy. Why should we always be held to ransom by these terrorist attacks and small needling attacks?
Absolutely.
By Pakistan? We have to call time for us to call the bluff.
A definitive action was needed, and that we have seen this morning. I'm coming to you, General Kulkarni, but General Himalaya Singh, what we have been able to do today is to defend our rights. That is what we have made it very clear. At the same time, not escalating things, not escalatory in nature. No military targets was hit. No civilian population was hit. That is something which the Pakistanis need to know. The international community has already taken note of that because nobody has really condemned what India has done. Even China, I'll come to Nitin Gokhale for that comment. China has only said that they regretted the incident. Himalaya Singh, how do you look at it?
Yes, I totally agree with you. The selection of the targets, all those 9 targets, selection of precision weapon systems to take out those intended to be taken out. So I think with this kind of operation, the entire international community should not have any doubts about India's resolve to fight terrorism anywhere, in India or in Pakistan. So I think to that extent, I think we are on the higher moral ground that the international community respects that. But I made a little different this thing on the Pakistan's, mindset. From the Pakistan's point of view, our retaliation to the Pahalgam attack will be taken as a challenge to their military. That is how some kind of a different thinking. So therefore, their military will most probably retaliate to redeem their honor, as General Kulkarni mentioned earlier. So how to redeem that honor is what they are going to do, because they know their capabilities, they know their shortcomings in terms of armed forces and within the society, the division within army and society itself. So I think we are, as of now, I think our perception management around the world, and I think it is on the right track, and Pakistan is losing that moral ground to actually
Absolutely.
impact. Yeah.
Right. General Kulkarni, Baluchiistan, we have seen what's going on, and in the last few days we have seen Balochi protesters flying the Indian flag. That's what we have picked up from the social media. Many of the mainstream media sites have also picked up this story, saying that there were some, at least, people, protesters in Baluchiistan who were flying the Indian tricolor. They're so disgusted with Pakistan, they want their freedom. Now, after this strike by India, do you expect the situation in Baluchistan to turn more belligerent? The protests against the Pakistani establishment going to get more belligerent? The separatist movement getting more belligerent? What do you think? How do you look at it?
100%. I have no doubt to what you have said, for a very simple reason, that the Khan of Kalat was made to sign the instrument of accession with force way back in 1949, as a result of which they never wanted to be a part of Pakistan. And ever since then, they have always felt rather exploited, because rich in minerals, 4% population, 44% land, and you found that since when the Chinese were not there, they were just been given 5% of the royalty, no proper drinking water, no electricity, no proper education, even though Quetta, the staff college, is part of Baluchistan's capital. And despite all that, Baluchis were getting just nothing. And now, after all this, now when the Chinese are there, it's getting worse and worse for them. Because whatever fishing that they could do for their living in and around, the Gwadar port has deprived them of that. And the complete minerals have been taken away by the Chinese. So the poor Baluchis are left with nothing rather than protesting. And therefore, Fazlur Rahman in the National Assembly has very openly said that there are 5 odd provinces don't fly the Pakistani flag because there is no presence of Pakistani troops, no presence of the Pakistani police. All that there are a Baluchistan Liberation Army which runs the writ over there. And as a result of which, unless the Pakistanis take firm, and to that, Munir said, no, what 1,500 people, the Indian army can do nothing to us. What 1,500 people will sort them all out any point of time, and laughed at it. So the Baluchis will get independence. Baluchis would want to secede from Pakistan. And their system, Baluchistan, is the one place from where they get the diesel. Diesel they get from Iran, smuggled diesel. They get electricity from Iran. So that is the state of affairs, even though the international airport made by China in Gwadar has not a single flight taking off of any, any airline for that matter, gets electricity from Iran. That's the state of affairs in Baluchistan. Who would want to be with them? And Baluchis are not just Baluchis. A sizable population in Baluchistan is also Pashtuns, who themselves in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa don't want to be with Pakistan. So there's enough going on there. I don't think Pakistan can actually do anything that might just secede from Pakistan at the first opportunity.
Coming to you, Nitin Gokhale, but before that, a big breaking story. India has launched a major diplomatic offensive after the military strike this morning. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar and NSA Ajit Doval have briefed diplomats of as many as 30 countries on the Operation Sindoor. 30 countries have been briefed. India has reached out to 30 countries since the strike this morning, and Ajit Doval has himself spoken to his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi and the US Secretary to Marco Rubio, UK National Security Advisor Jonathan Powell, NSAs of Saudi Arabia and UAE, and Japan's Masataka Okano. Nitin Gokhale, I want to pick your thoughts on, what do you think will be the situation now? Because what want to know from you is that, we have demonstrated that we are capable of dealing in multiple fronts. We have stopped trade. Pakistan has itself stopped the overflights and losing several crores every single day because all the international flights are taking a detour. They're now avoiding the Pakistani airspace. And now, economically, it said the country is in shambles. Now, do you think they have the resources or the wherewithal to continue with this escalation if they want to for a prolonged period of time?
Oh, well, no, certainly not. Pakistan's economy is in tatters. It is living on borrowed money, borrowed from the Chinese, borrowed from the IMF, borrowed from the Saudis, perhaps. But I think everybody is losing patience with Pakistan. And I don't think it can match India's economic heft or strength. But like I said, India, of course, will retaliate if Pakistan tries to escalate matters. But Pakistan better think of its own economy before it starts thinking on these lines. And remember, in the strikes that happened last night, early this morning, the Indian Navy's role is not yet sort of detailed, and that option India retains. Indian Navy also has a firepower that cannot be underestimated, and Pakistan should know that it can strike at its economic targets like the Karachi port and other valuable assets. So I think Pakistan must be cognizant that the world will not stand with Pakistan if it tries to escalate. I think the US and Saudi Arabia and China would try and tamp down its own interest. And they must know that Indian economy is far larger, far resilient, one of the largest in the world now. So I don't think Pakistan will take that risk. Although I must say that General Asim Munir, also described by one of the intelligence officers recently on one of my programs as Mullah General, and then now it's caught on, would be a reckless man. He would want to go any length to restore his own honor and Pakistan Army's honor. So we'll have to wait and watch. But any escalation from Pakistan side will be met resolutely, as we have seen. And I think China's role is important. I think just now, about half an hour ago, Chinese and Russian ambassadors in Delhi have been briefed. So have the members of the P5 in the UN Security Council, briefed by the Ministry of External Affairs. So I think the world is largely on India's side. And Pakistan must read the writing on the wall. Wasbir?
Absolutely. Very well said, Nitin. I hope we have some time to stay on for a few more minutes. General Kalita, as Nitin said, that India's outreach to the international community in India, and the Chinese reaction to the Indian strike this morning. Sandichara, we regret. That was the only statement that the Chinese Foreign Ministry has given ever since. Of course, after that, India has briefed the Chinese envoy, and our National Security Advisor has spoken also to his counterpart in Beijing, Wang Yi, apart from the diplomats in New Delhi. Now, do you think, are you surprised at the Chinese statement, or do you think the tariff war imposed launched by the United States would have an impact on the Chinese reaction because they are banking now heavily on India?
You see, in last decade or so, the world order has changed drastically. There is a growing importance of India as a nation, as an economic power, as a political power, as a diplomatic power, as a military power. There is a growing realization in the entire world of India as not only a dominating power in South Asia or Asia, even in the world. So the world recognizes that, and that has been, proved by the way the country has developed in all domains. So that we have seen in last few years, and India has made friends with the West, as also the Gulf countries. India's growing relationship with Saudi Arabia, UAE, and other Gulf countries are also to be taken note of, because these are the countries which have traditionally been bailing out Pakistan from their economic conditions. So the only country that is left is China, which has been, backing Pakistan in all the United Nations and the other international forums against the motions that were moved by India. Pakistan has always had the backing of China, like naming of Masood Azhar and all as a terrorist. So such like of things China has been supporting. But now, with the new dispensation in US and the trade tariff war, so to say, there is a growing realization, I think, even in China, that India is important to probably fight the tariff war that's panning out in the world. So India's plus India's huge domestic market, that in any case is everybody appreciates and knows the potential of this huge consumption market which the India offers. So Chinese are smart businessmen, and I think they know how to engage a country, and probably these are the reasons which may be attributed towards a muted Chinese response to the attack that has been launched by India.
Absolutely. Final comments from you. I'll come back to you, Nitin also, and all my panelists for their final comments. Group Captain Mohonto Panging, your final comments on how do you see the events unfolding in the next 48 hours?
This is a very good signaling also that is taken place, the strong action by India. This also sends out a signal to our rest of our neighbors also that we are no longer a soft state and will hit you back. So if the thing escalates and if Pakistan takes measures to escalate, then the Indian Armed Forces are already alert and waiting. And also one point I want to bring out about this briefing of diplomats and other countries. See, conflicts and wars happen when diplomacy fails. So diplomacy has been tried for long enough. It is for us to defend ourselves. It is for us to defend our country from external aggressions. So whatever is right to defend ourselves, what action we are supposed to take, we should take it. So because no other country accepts it when you keep attacking them. And what I want to, as a long-term measure, India as a country, we have to think about a two-front event that may in the future likely to take place. And we have to build our infrastructure and forces accordingly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. General Kulkarni, your final comments today on the developments. What do you expect in the next 2 to 3 days?
I'm sorry I can't hear you because my hearing got cut off, the earplugs. But notwithstanding, I can only say that at this point of time, the nation is indeed in a very happy state of mind. And primarily everybody seems to feel, yes, the professional armed forces have delivered. The strong leadership has made a whole lot of difference. The similar thing that we were referring to would have well happened in 2008, like what Nitin said. And then Air Chief Marshal Major said, had he been given the go-ahead, then he would have probably done what has happened today. And we lost so many years in the bargain. And the entire nation stands united. So Pakistan feels isolated. Pakistan does feel that it is on the back foot. And I hope we continue to build on this national unity, which is this particular incident has allowed us to become as one nation, and we should continue with it and ensure that nobody can divide this nation on any ground, and definitely not the communal ground. Yeah.
General Himalaya Singh, what are your parting thoughts?
You said next 2 to 3 days. Actually, my guess is as good as yours. But I only wish that they don't hit our infrastructure, our military, and our civilians in their expected retaliation. If they do, I think there is going to be hell to pay for them. In any case, I hope things don't escalate to that extent, but we all should be, our armed forces, our country should be prepared for the worst.
Nitin Gokhale, your final comments.
Final comments is that the country should be ready in a conflict scenario, in war scenario. There is always the possibility of some losses, some setbacks. One shouldn't get too disheartened by it. If India has now decided to take up the gauntlet Pakistan has thrown, India will carry it to the logical conclusion. And I think we all must stay united, stay vigilant across our cities and towns, not just on the border, and also help the government in keeping up the vigil. As far as I'm concerned, that is my final thought.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said, Nitin. I'll soon be joined by Lieutenant General Arvinder Lamba, former Vice Chief of the Army Staff, and Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, a distinguished fellow at the Gateway House. I'd like to thank my panelists now, General Kulkarni, General Kalita, General Himalaya Singh, Group Captain Mohonto Panging, and my good friend Nitin Gokhale for participating in this very engaging discussion this evening post-Operation Sindoor. We'll go for a short break. Don't go away. On the other side, Lieutenant General Arvinder Lamba, former Vice Chief of Army Staff, and Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, distinguished fellow at Gateway House, is joining me to carry this discussion forward. Welcome back to this live broadcast. This morning, India woke up to news of which they were waiting for the last 15 days, ever since the Pahalgam killing of 26 civilians by Pakistani terrorists. The news was obvious. India has struck terror hideouts, terror camps, terror headquarters, terror dens inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. At 10:30 in the morning, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri briefed the media, and shortly after that, 2 armed forces officers were assigned to brief the media. One of them was Colonel Sophia Qureshi, and the other was Wing Commander Yomika Singh. Both lady officers, one is a Lieutenant Colonel in the Indian Army, another is a Wing Commander. Colonel Sophia Qureshi, who is Colonel Sophia Qureshi? That's what everybody wants to know. Colonel Sophia Qureshi is a decorated officer from the Indian Army's Corps of Signals, has a long track record of breaking barriers. At just 35, she has already etched her name in history. In March 2016, as a Lieutenant Colonel, Qureshi became the first woman to lead an Indian Army contingent in a multinational military exercise called Exercise Force 18. This is the largest ever hosted by India. The event saw participation from 18 nations, including the United States, China, Russia, Japan, and ASEAN countries. She also served as a military observer with the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Congo in 2006 and has been actively involved in peacekeeping efforts since 2010. Sophia Qureshi continues to be a shining example of leadership and excellence in military operations, particularly in areas focused on peacekeeping and humanitarian efforts. Now, coming to Wing Commander Yomika Singh, a helicopter pilot in the Indian Air Force, she has logged over 2,500 flying hours, operating aircraft like Cheetah and Chetak in challenging terrain across Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast. Her military journey began with a dream to fly, nurtured through the National Cadet Corps. She became the first in her family to join the armed forces and was commissioned as a pilot on December 18, 2019. She received a permanent commission in the flying branch. Notably, She played a key role in critical air operations in Arunachal Pradesh in November 2020. Very interesting there. Very, very confident officers of the Indian Defence Forces, Indian Armed Forces, Sophia Qureshi and Yomika Singh. Now, let's take a look, viewers, at the 9 locations where India struck the precision strike this morning. Let's look at them one by one. The pictures speak for themselves. Let's continue with the slides. So, among the locations targeted are Markaz Taiba in Muridke, which was a training center for terrorists involved in the Mumbai 2008 attacks. Well, Azmal Kasab and David Headley were also trained here. So this speaks volumes about this location, which was decimated by the Indian Armed Forces this morning. The next target was the Sarjal camp in Sialkot, just 6 kilometers from the international border. Terrorists involved in the killing of 4 soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir in March 2025 were trained here. Yes, Sarjal camp was yet another terror launchpad and hence was decimated by the precision strike. The Gulpur camp in Kodi, which is 30 kilometers from the LOC, was also destroyed. This was a base of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. It was a training center for terrorists involved in April 2023 attack in Poonch and June 9, 2024 attack on pilgrims. Markaz Subhan Allah, Bahawalpur, which was the head office of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, was also came under attack during Operation Sindoor. This was the center of recruitment, training and indoctrination. So the nerve center of Jaish-e-Mohammed terror factory was attacked last night. The Mehmoona Joya camp in Sialkot, which was a stronghold of Hizbul Mujahideen, a terrorist group. The attack on Pathankot airbase was planned and directed from here. The Barnala terror camp in Bhimbar, which is 9 kilometers from Dalhousie, was also decimated. It was the center for handling arms and ammunition. So, all these centers are significant for terror operations. Now, I'm joined by Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, a distinguished fellow at Gateway House and a very well-known in the diplomatic corps, not just in India, but globally. Ambassador Bhatia, welcome to this live broadcast. I was having top army officials just a few minutes ago, and we were talking basically about the precision strikes. Now, my question to you, Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, is that India has made its intent clear. That was demonstrated. The nation was asking to avenge the death of 26 innocent civilians in Pahalgam, and India has demonstrated its intent by the strike this morning. Now, the international community, India has reached out to ambassadors, envoys and national security advisors of as many as 30 countries since this morning following Operation Sindoor. How do you look at this, and how do you look particularly at China's response? The first response was that we regret the incident. It was not a condemnation.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Wasbir Sahab. You are holding this special program on a very important and consequential development. I think it's our bounden duty to inform everybody in India and abroad, and particularly in the northeast of India, a region which is very close to my heart, about what is happening on the borders with Pakistan. I think the immediate answer to your question is that the world is watching perfect coordination of India's war preparations and diplomacy. India has taken 2 weeks and then decided to take some thoughtful measures. And we saw the situation of that last night. And at the same time, it has been made very clear to everyone concerned that these are measured, calibrated, non-escalatory steps. What does it mean? It means that after taking into account the impact of the Pahalgam massacre by terrorist groups based in Pakistan, India decided it was not really that much of a revenge, as was mentioned earlier, as delivering justice. In fact, you would notice that soon after the operation was over, the Indian Army sent a message, justice delivered, Jai Hind. So it is a kind of a justice delivered to punish those people who had been behind this terrible tragedy in Pahalgam. But most importantly, it's also noteworthy that Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri made it clear that we have firm intelligence, credible, unquestionable intelligence, that these terrorist groups were planning to perpetuate, to carry further attacks against India. So this is very much self-defense in advance as well. But my final point is that by the route of proactive diplomacy, the government has informed all its partners, all the important countries which are interested and involved in one way or the other in the India-Pakistan equation, that India has taken certain steps. India is going to watch Pakistan's response, and India has no intention, under the best of circumstances, to broaden the conflict or escalate the ladder, but India is fully prepared for any response that Pakistan might decide to take to complicate matters.
Right. I'm also joined in this broadcast by Lieutenant General Arvinder Lamba, the former Vice Chief of Army Staff. General Lamba, welcome. You know, the nation wanted India to avenge the death of its innocent civilians, and the armed forces today have delivered. Your first reactions to this?
I think it's a very important moment in our history of counterterrorism that India stood up to over several decades. I think it's been one of the most important actions today. Like, it's come out in the news that after 1971, this is the first joint and integrated action that has actually happened. And I feel that this moment is not just of a counter-strike. It's a moment that shows it's a very diplomatically deliberated upon, militarily deliberated upon strike, that to bring home a message that the terror must stop. And I think the larger message that's now resonating is that it's not that Pakistan is a hub of terror. We're now convincing the world, in fact, Pakistan is helping us to, that Pakistan is a state actor that sponsors terrorism more than anywhere else in the world. I think so with that, every action that India has taken, it's been precise, it's been limited, and it's been absolutely focused on the terror camps.
Right. I'm coming to you, Ambassador, but before that, let me tell you that one of the IPL matches which was scheduled to be played in Dharamsala has been shifted to Mumbai because the Kangra airport is one of those airports that has been temporarily shut because of the developing situation. That is the breaking story coming in. Now, let me go to you, Ambassador Bhatia. India has spoken to several countries in the last few days. The Russian President Putin had spoken to Prime Minister Modi maybe twice in the last couple of days. And India has actually been engaged with several countries in the last few days. And today, of course, is a different story. After Operation Sindoor, India reached out to 30 countries. And this first reaction by External Affairs Minister Jaishankar this morning, when he took to social media to say that the world must have zero tolerance to terrorism. Now, where is this confidence coming from that the entire global community will be with us? And it is with us.
This comes from a very successful conduct of our foreign policy and diplomacy for past many years. I think India has a large number of friends and strategic partners in all over the places, in the West, in the East, in the global south. And I think the Indian establishment has kept all the relevant countries fully informed and briefed about this matter over a long period of time. You would have noticed that in every major plurilateral or multilateral grouping, when declarations are negotiated and finalized, there's always one or more paragraphs condemning international terrorism. Everybody who is friends with India knows that India has been at the forefront of countering and combating terrorism by all means that may be available to us and to others. So on that, India's position is crystal clear long before even Pahalgam happened. Secondly, on India-Pakistan relationship, I think it is also very clear that while India is set on developing its own economy, its own development, bringing good consequences to the people of India. In contrast, Pakistan has been imploding from inside. There have been far too many conflicts within that country. And on top of that, Pakistan is widely seen as the epicenter of terrorism all around the world.
Right.
It is so on the western border, on the eastern border, and internally as well. So it is in that light when our diplomats, our ambassadors, our foreign minister are now in touch with the current, in view of the current crisis, people understand. And that is the reason, for example, in earlier question I missed, you asked whether a Chinese immediate reaction of regretting and not condemning the precision strikes. I was not surprised. I think in diplomatic language, regret is a very minor or mild mild reaction. I think it's very important for us to finally pinpoint that some of the key countries such as US, France, Russia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Indonesia, these are the countries which are expressing their understanding and support. But obviously, we have to resolve our own problems by our own authority and by our own power.
Absolutely, absolutely, Ambassador. General Lamba, the weapons used, we are the fourth largest army in the world. We have a huge manpower. We have developed our military hardware over the years. Now, but we have now the modern weapons. Now we have used kamikaze drones, we have used the suicide drones, the loitering munitions, we have used scalp cruise missile, we have used the hammer precision bombs and so on and so forth. Now, how does it enhance? Because we have been able to do these strikes without really crossing the line of control.
I think it's a very relevant point, Dr. Wasbir. It shows India's elevation to a capability to handle terror hubs and terror camps with such precision that actually lead to zero collateral damage, unlike the Pakistan way of doing it. But I think this shows, in fact, you've counted most of the weapons that has been used. The technologies are so precise today that with the kind and the pictures that have been displayed on your media, they're a clear indication of the level that we have achieved and the competence we have today in addressing terror hubs and terror points, and so it besides the missile strikes and the weapon systems that may have been used to hit out at these camps, there remain several options, and the several options could be, beyond visual range. You can use weapon systems, you can strike with your own aircraft on your own side and dispelling bombs that could reach well beyond the border. But that kind of targets that we had, the precision that we had, and we had, that we had targeted, actually listed 21 targets, out of which only 9 were picked up. And it just shows that we have the ability to prevent collateral damage, something that draws international condemnation. So we have the ability to pinpoint, to carry full surveillance, to strike, to prevent collateral damage. And here we are, it's a clean counter-terrorist operation. So I think we've gone a long way where we have virtually Pakistan should know its entire border, wherever there is terror hubs, are directly and constantly under surveillance. They could be struck anytime.
Now, Ambassador Bhatia, ever since the strike this morning, Pakistan was rattled and they've increased the caliber of its firing along the line of control. Now, there are reports that at least 9 to 10 civilians in Jammu and Kashmir on our side have been killed and 40 to 41 others are wounded. Now, my question is, bodies like the United Nations Security Council, United Nations saying they exercise restraint. Do you think, bodies like the UN now should come out more strongly against Pakistan hitting at civilian targets, or it is too much to expect from an organization like the UN?
Well, about the United Nations, all that we can see with respect is that there is consensus among the observers and the scholars that it has been unable to discharge its responsibilities. It's a sad thing, it's a regrettable thing. In fact, when the UN was created, one of the foremost duties of this organization was to maintain peace and security. In that task, it has failed, partly because the 5 permanent members of the Security Council are rarely able to forge unity in terms of an approach to resolve a problem of security. But more importantly, because the UN Security Council reflects the power realities of 1945. Today we are sitting in 2025. It is not a representative body, and therefore the UN has unfortunately lost much relevance. Yet at the same time, I think we must recognize that when 1 or 2 days back the Security Council met, India's position was forcefully presented, and it was adequately appreciated and understood by all the members, permanent and non-permanent members. So we know that UN Secretary General has been making some statements. He has his own point of view. He has been urging restraint to both countries. But then a time comes in the life of a nation when it has to take its own authority to protect its own self. This is exactly what India has done. If I may also be allowed to say that there are a number of very important aspects of the way India has projected itself that must be appreciated. I think the combined briefing by the MOD and MEA today, it has been very widely appreciated for its integrity and transparency and honesty. It has presented to the world media full details with live camera shots as to what happened and how much damage was caused in Pakistan. Secondly, Foreign Secretary, presented the initial commentary both in Hindi and English.
Yeah.
And thirdly, the combination of the 2 lady officers, one from the Indian Army and the other from the Indian Air Force, the 3 personalities projected such a composite diversity and yet unity picture of India. Everybody has noted it admirably.
Absolutely. Very, very well said, Ambassador. These are the points that it demonstrated that India's democracy, democratic spirit, and its secularism, if I may use the word. I was a little blunt in this, but facts are facts. Our secularism cannot be challenged, and that is what has been demonstrated to the world this morning during that press conference. That is what the ambassador was speaking in fine diplomatic language, of course, not as blunt as I did. I will go for a very, very short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. General Lamba, what is your assessment? What could Pakistan possibly do in the next 2 to 3 days? What do you expect? What are the options before them? because they must be also under tremendous pressure, because as we will play that, before that, let's play that bite of that Pakistani soon after that attack for both my esteemed panelists to listen to before I can seek their comments on this. It's a very short bite. Quickly, please. All right.
पाकिस्तानी और इंडिया ने जंग शुरू कर दी है। अभी मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के जो है मदरसा है उसके ऊपर 4 मिसाइल दागे गए हैं। 4 मिसाइलों के साथ हमला किया गया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। हम अपनी अफवाज पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़े हैं, लेकिन मेरा सवाल है कि हमारी एजेंसीज कहाँ सोई हुई थी, हमारी अफवाज पाकिस्तान कहाँ सोई हुई थी जब ये हमला हुआ। मुजफ्फराबाद की भी खबर आ रही है कि मुजफ्फराबाद वाली साइड पर भी ये अटैक हुआ है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे बहावलपुर सिटी के अंदर अटैक हुआ है ब्लास्टिक मिसाइल के साथ। उन्होंने हमला किया है मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे के ऊपर। 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं। अभी ये कहना कबल वक्त है कि गोया कितनी सच्चाई है इस खबर के अंदर, किस साइड से ये मिसाइल आए हैं, ये अभी कन्फर्म होना बाकी है, लेकिन ये कन्फर्म न्यूज़ है कि उनके मदरसे के ऊपर 4 मिसाइल मारे गए हैं।
So, General Saab, he has not only confirmed a strike, we don't need any confirmation though, we are sure about what we have done, but he said that हमारे फौज कहाँ थे, हमारे फौजी सोए हुए थे क्या? Were they sleeping? That's what he's asking.
I think the question asked by this reporter is very, very clear and explicit in the state of affairs on the other side. And I think, and these surprise, strikes by what we have learned and put into practice are so sudden and with full surprise that they're very hard to prevent or guard against. But I think your major question was, how do you think now they'll respond? That is the major question that faces all of us. In a way that, are they going to escalate or are they going to respond at a lower level on this? My 2 quick points are, as I've realized, first is their challenge, which is unique to Pakistan, is their military leadership. I mean, with their DGISI also elevated to the position of an NSA, and their Asif Munir himself had been DGISI, with 2 military men, I think what would be in their mind is to somehow respond and escalate the matter militarily. So that is their challenge. But I think the larger challenge is for the government in terms of escalation. For the political leadership, I see the largest challenge not only to how to respond to India, but more importantly, how to restrain their military leadership in taking an aggressive action which takes or escalates the situation out of control. So I think the challenge for the political leadership is truly dual and serious. And so I think if they're deliberate upon it, they're unlikely to escalate. The other point is that if they do escalate, there are 2-3 options they have. They could hit back with artillery or other means on border towns and cantonments, but that's not without risking an act of war. But I think the larger capability they have built up with the virtual army of terrorists that they have there is no group that's not working with the Pakistan army. They could activate their sleeper cells in sensitive areas. They could hit from deep to shallow targets within the Indian mainland and try and get sensitive installations, sensitive targets like leadership, etc., is what they could. And I personally feel that rant of nuclear threat is a rant that they all know the consequences of. They have a capability, but everybody knows that India's response, no NFU, but an all-out response to any threat would quell them down, would put them down probably for a long time to come. So
Absolutely.
I think the escalation, in my view, as I've explained the reasons, will be low, maybe more again and more terror strikes and limited military options. I think the example of Pulwama, what happened, and Balakot, how we did, when we struck, there was little or no response.
Absolutely. We'll wait and watch how Islamabad responds. Final comments from you, Ambassador Bhatia. India has used a lot of options in hitting back at Pakistan this time round, diplomatically, economically, and now militarily. So do you think Pakistan will be able to withstand this multi-pronged pressure put up by India, and the fact that the international community has not condemned India's actions? They are actually siding with India largely. In fact, President Trump also had his first reaction within hours after this strike. He said that we were expecting something coming from India. So India is a big power today, respected by the world. And how does it pan out in the next few days?
The central point in my way to look at this thing is to avoid bravado and avoid excessive pessimism or depression. I think India is indeed a mature nation and it plans to behave as one. We have taken the first major step. Pakistan has faced it. And now the ball is in Pakistan's court. They will have to decide in the best of their own judgmental process, decision-making process, as to what they want to do. Knowing that country as well as we know here in India, probably there would be a reaction. There would be a military reaction. Our people should be mentally and psychologically ready for it. I'm very happy today, Wasbir Sahab, we are talking all this when civil defense exercises are being conducted. So that reflects the morale and the preparedness of the people of India. India has reasonable confidence. India has ample confidence that whatever Pakistan does diplomatically, politically, militarily, India is capable to respond to that in an appropriate manner. But India's bottom line is very clear. Terrorism anchored on Pakistani soil must end, because this is a curse for this relationship, curse for the people, and our political leadership, resolute as it is, determined and imaginative as it is completely committed to see that terrorism comes to an end once and for all in this part of the world.
Absolutely, extremely well said, Ambassador. Terrorism has to come to an end. India is confident, and we'll have a close watch on what the Pakistanis are doing. General Lamba and Ambassador Rajiv Bhatia, thank you so much for joining me, and I'd like to publicly request you to be on the program as and when to give your valuable insights as the situation unfolds. Thank you, viewers, for watching the program.